sheriff put together a live lineup to make sure they had the right person in custody. And when I went, the deputy and I, Judy DeBark, and I went to the sheriff's department. It was typical, the one-way glass. I was given a sheet of paper with numbers 1 through 8 written on it and told that there would be 8 men and to look at them, and if I saw my assailant, just to put a check mark next to the appropriate number. And I remember saying, well, what if I don't see, what if my assailant's not in there? And they just said, then just fold the paper in half and hand it to the sheriff. I looked at, again, all the people in the lineup, and when I came to Stephen Avery, I had a real visceral reaction. Felt the color drain from my face, the hair on the back of my neck stood up. I started shaking. It was like, wow, there's no doubt in my mind, this is the guy. What I have learned since is that basically you get one chance at a good identification. So as soon as I picked Steve's picture, that image of his picture became my assailant. And the way the memory experts explain it is, if you viewed memory as like strands of yarn, initially I was attacked and I had a vision in my mind of my attacker. So that's like one strand of yarn. Then I give a description and an artist's drawing is completed. They show it to me, that's a second strand. Then I pick Steve's photo, that's the third strand. Then I pick Steve out of a live lineup. And all those strands in your memory get intertwined, and it's impossible to go back and pull them out and create the initial memory. So it's like a memory contamination. I think I might have initially said I'm 90% sure I identified the right person, and I wasn't asked that right away. It was maybe a week after my initial ID. And then the prosecutor said, when you're in court, you damn well better say you're 100% certain. And that's what I did. I had an interesting experience in that I went back to speak at Green Bay Correctional again. And this wasn't just a group of men that they'd bring together. This was a whole 12-week class that they were part of. So the men were prepped, but it was after the exoneration, and I told the story, including that I had misidentified my assailant. And when I finished telling the story, it was time to break for lunch. And then when we come back, we do a circle where we pass a talking piece. And only the person holding the talking piece can speak. And this is where the men reflect. And one of the inmates said, he said, I was so upset when I found out that you misidentified Stephen Avery and that someone had served that many years in prison, that I just wanted to get up and come over and assault you. And the guy was being really honest, and he said, but over lunch, some of the other men in the group talked to me and said, if Stephen Avery can forgive her, who are you to sit in judgment? Well, first of all, I was given Jennifer Thompson's name as someone I could call, who had been through a similar experience. So I waited several months. Steve was exonerated in September. I don't think I called her till February. And I explained my story, and she basically said to me, you did the best you could under the circumstances. It was an honest mistake. You didn't convict him. You gave your testimony. She said everything I needed to hear, and intellectually I understood it, but on an emotional level I still didn't get it. Then the center involved me in a case of a woman who had misidentified her assailant, and the man was being exonerated. And they put me in touch with this victim who was devastated. And I basically said to her all the things Jennifer had said to me. And it was like this light bulb went off. It's like, I would never judge this woman or Jennifer the way I've judged myself. And not that I was trying to lessen my responsibility for what happened, but I understood that you can make a horrible mistake, but it doesn't make you a horrible person.